Welcome back to the Casual Gamer. In this video, we are going to take a look at the GPD Win 5. Some say its performance is overkill, but I say there's no such thing as overkill if it comes to PC handheld gaming. The Win 5 delivers the best performance that money can buy at this moment. We are talking about not just a few frames, but a significant performance advantage over the Z2 Extreme. But let's check out the unboxing experience real quick and see what's inside the box. We of course have the handheld, and in this case it's the version with the 395 Ryzen AI Max Plus. We'll also find two boxes which contain the charger and the tethering cable for the battery. One of Win 5's interesting features is the detachable 80 watt-hour battery. Those who don't like the added bulk and weight are able to connect the device to the battery through the included tethering cable. This allows you to store the battery pack in your pocket or bag. Simply plug in one end of the cable into the device and fasten the screws. Then slide the other end into the connector of the battery and secure the fasteners. Without the battery, the Win 5 only weighs 590 grams. So this is a great option for those who would rather use the device without having the battery pack attached when on the go. This also allows you to swap out the battery for another one if you run out of power. However, it does not allow for hot swapping when you're not connected to another power source. You will need to power off the device and then change the battery. The Win 5 has two expansion slots for additional storage. One is the mini SSD slot, which supports far higher transfer rates in comparison to your regular SD card. But these seem hard to come by at the moment. And then we have, of course, a regular SD card slot. Let me also mention that the device comes with a 2 TB Western Digital black drive. I'm glad to see that at least you get your money's worth if it comes to components. If it comes to ergonomics, I think it's much more comfortable to use than the Claw 8 AI Plus. The Claw's back is rather flat, and I much prefer the grips on the Win 5. It just makes it better to hold. Some of you might also be glad to hear that it is a more compact machine in comparison to the Steam Deck or Legion Go. The battery pack almost doubles the weight of the device, and if you were bothered by the Legion Go's weight, then most likely you won't like this either. But I have to say that the weight is surprisingly balanced, and it's nowhere as bad as I thought it would be. The optical finger mouse is nice to have in desktop mode, but its sensitivity can cause some unintentional input while gaming. Thankfully, it can be disabled by pressing it for 4 seconds. And for those who are into shoot-'em-ups, the trigger mode switches at the back of the device allow you to change the behavior of the shoulder triggers. The Win 5 has two 2-watt front-firing speakers, and while not terrible, I'd say that the sound is serviceable, but judge for yourselves. By the way, the Win 5 is using the same 7-inch 120Hz VRR display found on the Ally X, so this is either a pro or con, depending on your preference. But personally, I suggest getting a nice pair of XR glasses to take gaming to a whole new level. But let's get to the part everyone is waiting for. Let's take a look at the performance of the GPD Win 5. Here's a clip of HUBWOOD's Xbox Ally X and Win 5 performance comparison video. At 75 watts, we see almost triple the frame rate of the Xbox Ally X. And at 35 watts, we see almost double the frame rate, while the Xbox Ally X is struggling to reach 50 frames per second. The maximum TDP while using the battery pack is 45 watts and 75 watts if connected to the charger. I suggest staying within 32 to 35 watts when on battery. This delivers more than enough power for AAA games, and at the same time it extends playtime and keeps fan noise to a minimum. Here we have Metal Gear Solid Delta. The game is set to 1080p and we are using TSR set to balance. All settings are set to high. This is an extremely performance-heavy game and the Claw 8 AI Plus was struggling running it at 900p. Even when set to performance, it was dropping to the low 20s. The TDP, by the way, is set to 32 watts. The Claw was specifically having a hard time at this bridge section, dropping to the 20s. On the Win 5, we have double the frame rate at higher resolution and quality settings. We could always push it further by increasing the TDP, but that would shorten the playtime when on battery. Another heavy game is, of course, Alan Wake 2. The game is running at 1080p with FSR set to quality, medium settings except for textures, which is set to high.
I'll park there anyway. I want to walk to the diner.
The TDP is set to 32 watts for this game. Unfortunately, the capturing device caps the frame rate at 60 due to its refresh rate. So I'm going to record without the capturing device since the frame rate goes beyond 70.
The diner's just up the waterfront. Shouldn't keep the sheriff and our witnesses waiting.
I smell coffee.
Hi there.
Just how much coffee have you had today, Charlie?
Next, we have Monster Hunter Wilds. Resolution is set to 1080p and FSR to quality. Frame generation is disabled and CPU settings are all set to default. Graphical settings are mainly set to high, and we are running the game at 32 watts. Enabling frame generation gets you 70 to 80 frames per second. The game looks and performs way better than on the Claw. At the moment, I think there's nothing the Win 5 can't handle, but performance literally comes at a price.
Sure are a lot of monsters there.
But what about the fan noise? At 35 watts, it is barely audible but not silent. I have placed the microphone on top of the vents and then moved it away for your reference. At 70 watts, however, the fans are clearly audible, and even at arm's reach, the fan noise can still be heard. If you have keen eyes, you might have noticed that I'm using STEAMOS on the device. I did find the GPD's motion control app archaic in design. Should you decide to use Windows, there are thankfully widgets for Game Bar that let you change settings like the TDP. But I decided for STEAMOS for a more console-like experience. And here's my conclusion. The performance of the GPD Win 5 cannot be bested at this time. I no longer have to worry knowing that it can handle pretty much anything. It makes me feel more confident when purchasing games. The Win 5 is for enthusiasts with big wallets who want the latest and fastest. But it's an investment that will last you for a while since we won't see the Z3 Extreme until 2027 or 28. And Panther Lake does not look like it will outperform Strix's Halo. The lack of an Armory Crate or MSI Center-like app for Windows might be an issue for people who do not like to tinker. Enthusiasts, however, might see this as no issue since there are enough other options available, like Game Bar widgets, third-party launchers, or just straight-out installing a Linux distro like Bazite or SteamOS. The local price is 95,995 Philippine pesos, which is around 1,655 US dollars. However, the same model now seems to be retailing between 2,500 to 3,000 US dollars in a number of online shops. This could be a direct result of the RAM and storage shortage, but for those who want to spend their hard-earned money on a Win 5, a link to GDP's official distributors is in the description. And so we come to the end of today's video. But what do you think of the Win 5? Or if you own one yourself, what is your experience with the device? Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next video. Casual Gamer out.